So this sounds like another one of those things I wish Jesus hadn't said gospels that Mary preached on a few weeks ago, doesn't it? It's very similar to the one that she preached on. That day, if you remember, Jesus was commenting on how families were going to be divided. Father against son, mother against daughter, when he brings fire to the earth and how he wished that it were already here. Well, today he goes even farther than that and tells us that we have to hate our closest relations and even life itself in order to be his disciple. It's pretty harsh, right? But hang on. I mean, doesn't Jesus also say in John's gospel that I came that they may have life and have it abundantly? It is the same Jesus we're talking about, right? So which is it? Hate life or have it abundantly? Can you both hate life and have it abundantly? What would that mean? I'm not entirely sure, but it probably involves taking up a cross somewhere along the line, don't you think? He also says in John that those who love their life lose it, and those who hate their life in this world will keep it for eternal life. And I can't believe that he means that we're all just supposed to be miserable in this life because life abundant, right? Plus, he says similar things in Matthew and Mark and Luke. So clearly there's something going on here. There's a paradox. Jesus loves paradox. There's a paradox about hating life and having it abundantly, about loving life and losing it, renouncing it and gaining it. And if Jesus wants us to have life and have it in abundance, but also says that we must hate life, maybe we need to ask, what does he mean by life? What does he mean by being alive? Well, it certainly doesn't mean being surrounded by and attached to a lot of possessions, does it? I mean, he's pretty clear about that too, isn't he? None of you can become my disciple if you do not give up all of your possessions. Does he just mean stuff? Well, probably, but it's more than that, isn't it? What are my possessions? What are the things that I am attached to that keeps me from being fully alive? I mean, it's true that most of us have a lot of stuff. We acquire a lot of things over a lifetime. Some of them are treasured objects. Others of them are just things that no longer spark joy in us, do they? I mean, maybe they're useful or maybe they're decorative, but ultimately, I would give all of them up. I mean, ultimately, I will give all of them up when I'm facing the end of my life, because, as the saying goes, you can't take it with you. So what else am I attached to? My roles, my relationships, those are much harder to give up, aren't they? Letting go of the people and the relationships in my life that have formed me and sustained me and mean deep things to me, that's really hard and really painful. But it's also something that ultimately we will all give up. And what about those idols that I talked about last week? My thoughts and my beliefs and my convictions and my stories, my ego, my very sense of being a separate self. How hard is that to let go of? You know, over the years of my own spiritual practice and hopefully spiritual growth, using meditation and scripture study and working with spiritual directors, I've come face to face with some of these pretty deep questions. And I'm going to get a little bit esoteric here, but hang in there with me, please. In order for me to possess anything, there has to be a me to begin with, doesn't there? But who or what is that me? If I'm doing a body exercise and I'm sensing my body, Who or what is doing the sensing? Is my body me, or is it something that I possess? Does the air that I breathe become me, or do I simply possess it while it is in my lungs? When does the air that I breathe or the food that I eat become me? If I'm meditating and I become aware of a thought, become aware that I'm thinking, who or what is having that awareness? Am I my thoughts, or are my thoughts a possession? Or do they simply just exist somewhere? What about my feelings? What about my memories? Am I simply the sum of my ideas and my biases and my opinions? Are they possessions that I hold on to so that I can keep feeling like me? Am I me because of my relationships? Father, son, brother, husband, friend, priest? Or are these roles and these relationships more like possessions, something that I'm attached to? Where do I begin, and where do I end? And what my years of practice continue to reveal to me, and what I'm pretty confident Jesus is getting at here, is that my beginning and my end is always in that primary, all-consuming relationship with the source of all life. And being fully alive means seeing and feeling and knowing and living fully into that primary relationship with the divine that I've been trying to describe over the past couple of weeks, and that we're actually reminded of again in today's psalm, aren't we? You, God, created me in my inmost parts, knit me together in my mother's womb. You search me out and know me. Not as I know myself through the veils of my ego, but as you have marvelously made me. And no matter how fast or how far I try to run away from that, you are always there. That is our beginning. That is our end. And our possessions are anything that gets in the way of that. And it's not just all of the stuff, it's all of the veils that prevent us from seeing. It's the ego armor that prevents us from sensing. It's all of the certainties and explanations that keep us from imagining another way of being. It's all of the idols of power and knowledge and authority and rightness that we cling to. Clinging is an interesting word. You know, the Buddhists refer to all of this clinging attachment as tanha, or craving, right? Which they say leads to suffering. And in Buddhist cosmology, this leads to the endless cycle of samsara, right? Suffering and the sources of suffering. Christians have historically referred to this clinging in terms of the deadly sins: avarice, lust, gluttony, envy, etc. But they also lead to endless cycles of suffering, don't they? And the remedy that Jesus proposes, the one that he actually shows us how to do with his life, is taking up the cross, which is brilliant when you think about it, because in order to fully take up the cross, we have to put all of that other stuff down, don't we? And if you want to count the cost of that, the cost of this renunciation, Jesus says, go ahead. But the math of it is pretty simple. It will cost everything. But remember, everything is already and eternally with God and in God. So what exactly are you giving up? Just the stuff? the possessions, the idols, the shadows, the veils of the ego. Hating life and having it abundantly, taking up a cross and gaining life are paradoxes. But then, as one author asks, when are you most fully alive? Probably when you are taking up your cross. That is, when you are putting your life towards something larger and more meaningful than your own comfort. So yes, it's a tough gospel, but I don't wish that Jesus hadn't said it, because it actually forces us to look past the veils of our own fears and concerns. It asks us to open ourselves to the reality that God is still molding us and still molding our future. And it offers us the option of either holding on to our illusions and standing in the way of that, or letting go and becoming part of God's dream. And I know which way I would rather go. Don't you? Amen.